first full tank on the 1980 Goldwing. Hopefully you guys can hear me clearly using this microphone. We're gonna figure it out because this is my first time doing this. So let's see. Well, it cost $31 here to fill this thing up with 4.8 gallons of gasoline. So she's got a full tank. I'm definitely going to need to do something about this front brake. I just rebuilt it, but she got no pressure. Well, not enough pressure anyway. So, off we go. So hopefully the audio is good. Not getting a whole lot of wind noise, I'm not sure. But I got a helmet on and, well, we're going to see how it sounds, because I don't know. Alright. We're not going to go too far, probably just around some back roads real quick to see what that looks like, how it rides. Then we'll probably come back and do some more brake bleeding. I just finished kind of working on this bike except for the brakes. I did take it on a test ride last week, and that was the turn signal buzzer. I took it on a ride last week just around like kind of this big block and back just to make sure it ran good and whatnot, but the brakes were locked up in the front pretty much, like to the level of smoking and almost catching actual fire. So it sat the last week waiting for the brake master cylinder rebuild kits and the caliper rebuild kits to come in, and so I did them today. The back works pretty good. The front, I don't have enough action. We're making some noise here. Let's see if we can find out what that is. Can't do that when everybody else is making tons of noise. Thanks. It may not have been my noise. Front looks good. Looks good over here. I don't know. We'll continue around the corner and see what, if anything, is making the racket. Okay. It's a little warm out today. Ideally, I'd like to be able to do this in the future without having to for today, I think we'll close the visor and hope for the best. It's only going to get better as I learn. Hopefully the chest mount dealie isn't too... See, I can get it to pump up, but I think I need to rebleed this master is what's going on. So we'll try that when we get back. It slows us down, but it doesn't stop like it should. Got all fresh fluid. Calipers rebuilt, masters rebuilt. Should be working better than that. Got these swanky new chrome levers off Saber Cycle. I think they were like 16 bucks. You can't have anything chromed for 16 bucks. So I went ahead and threw those on. Any chance I get to do a little snazzy upgrade, if it's not too terribly expensive, I'd like to start changing things out. Next might be the mirrors. They're already chrome, but I think they're kind of giving up as far as holding their position. They're kind of weak. We'll see how it goes. But we'll get out here to some back roads not too far from our shop and see... what is that? Oh, it's just dust, I guess. Well, it doesn't appear that it's making noise. Maybe that was somebody else's vehicle I heard. I'm not sure. I'm always paranoid of vehicles that I just took apart. Oh, lady of the day. I'm always paranoid. You know, having somebody else work on your bike to me is difficult to trust, because I've had that happen in the past where I've dropped it off just trying to pay a professional to do their job and do something that I don't feel like doing, or I don't know how to do, or don't want to do, I don't have time to do. But I've learned in doing so that you can't trust them all with getting it done. A lot of times I pick it back up, pay the bill, and I still got to do it myself or redo what they've done. It could just be me. Could be that I haven't found a legitimate place to do the work, and I just need to search for someone better. But more so, I just do it myself, and it sucks because I sometimes would like to be able to pay people to just do the things, because I don't always want to do them. I mean, I get satisfaction and joy out of fixing old stuff that's, you know, like this bike hadn't been on the road since '95, so it's really cool to me to be able to, you know, bring something back from just sitting in a garage for literal decades, and here I am riding it down the road, and it's awesome. So hey, take it easy, buddy. People think most of these streets around here are the drag strip. I don't know if it's because we're in the hood or what, but yeah. See, this little mirror's not loving the life right now. There we go. Or maybe it's because I'm going super slow. Easy, guys. I'm on old Goldwing here. It'll get to speed. Just give me a minute. Yeah, so we're taking a ride out kind of towards the country, get out where there's far less people, so maybe we can really test this old gal out, see how it runs. I don't know what's the, you know, speeds I even got it up to last week when I rode it, because the brake was roached and I could barely just go around the block without the front brakes catching fire, and I was afraid that at any moment the front wheel could lock up. So that's always also the downfall of working on things yourself, is you're not a pro, so you got to really be careful and test everything before you just hop on it and blast out. I should have known better, because I'm not a pro. You know, I'm just a dude that's learned as good as possible to work on my own stuff out of necessity. Like I said, I can't either find somebody to do the job correctly, or didn't have the money to pay a professional when I was younger, so I had to learn. And not that I'm great at it now, but I can usually get most stuff going. There you go, buddy. So this is a 1980, has a little shorter gear ratio, or yeah, I guess that's how you'd call it. 80 and 81 GL 1100s, you know, had shorter gearing than 82, 83. So when you are at highway speeds, I think you're a little higher in RPM, but it was designed for that, so it has to be okay. It'd be nicer to change the final drive or something like that to lower that RPM, because I would assume that also would equate to fuel economy or fuel consumption. And I read some things online that said you may be able to use a VT 700 or 1100 or something rear final drive and swap it out in order to achieve a better final drive ratio for the highway speeds. But I haven't really dug into that yet. I'm just trying to get her going. So far we got a new fresh windshield, brakes, fork seals, polished the fork legs, rebuilt the carbs, put a fresh set of Dunlops on it. You know, just refreshing all the old seals and things that probably are no good, because she sat for a few decades in a garage covered up. So this bike is an 80 with now 6,476 miles on it. So when you go to buy an old bike, you can't just assume that is that my brake smoking? Alright, we might have to figure out what's going on here. I don't know if it's a truck in front of me or if it's me. Let's see. Oh, it's definitely my brakes dragging. So it is my front brakes or is it my rear brakes? But I could smell them suckers, so. Oh yes. Not sure if it's the front or the rear. But we're gonna pull over here and try to find out. Because we can't be riding around. But it feels like it's my rear. So of course I just went through the front because it was doing it the other day. And well, looks like we may be doing the rear. I have the master cylinder, but I'm waiting for the caliper, the rear caliper rebuild kit. So we may need to do that. Let's see. Can we tell? Is she? Yeah, see, she's smoking. I don't know if you guys could see that, but there is smoke coming out of that back brake caliper. And that is because, let's see if I can get a shot in here. That back brake caliper is probably locked up. Or the master's bad and not returning the fluid or the pressure, letting the pressure off after you've pushed the back brakes. So, on this bike in particular, master cylinder's back there under that side cover. Obviously the caliper's on the back wheel. So I think we're going to have to tackle that. So, I'm going to attempt to get her back to the shop and tackle that next, I guess. Alright, well, we know what we got to do now. We'll have an update for you soon. Alright, well, I figured I probably should be recording while limping this thing back to the shop. Hopefully the back brake has given up a little bit and we'll be able to get it back without completely roasting our rear caliper and rotor. So I'm just going to not use the back brake, but I can feel it sticking. I'm like trying to pull it backwards and forwards. Good news is we're right around the corner from the shop, so like, you know, maybe a couple miles. I think we'll be fine. We're going to try to whip around here and get her back to the shop where we can figure out what part of this situation is no good. We're probably going to end up rebuilding the master and caliper just because. I mean, stuff's old, you know. So we will try to carefully make our way back to the shop. And so far so good. We just won't try to go very fast. We'll just kind of limp our way back. Man, this bike is comfortable. I really think if I had a backrest, I could tour the country. You see I got my cup holder mounted, got a phone holder mounted. I didn't have those when I got it, but I've been saving those for the right bike. And I think this might be it. Pretty pumped on this one. So hopefully we just zip on back to the shop, let it cool down for a little bit, because I'm sure that back brake is toasty. And see what we've got to mess with here. So I appreciate you guys for going on this little ride with me. You know, we're going to be starting a new channel and we're going to start trying to film more things. I mean, I don't know that anybody's interested to see this, but I figure there's somebody out there that's, I mean, this doesn't just apply to Goldwings in general. This applies to most old motorcycles. I mean, brakes are a system that, you know, once something has sat long enough, it's probably going to need some love, because them old seals are going to be bad, dried up. You start hitting them with fresh fluid and pressure, it's only a matter of time till they blow anyway. And I kind of knew that with the back one. I just, you know, I didn't know it was bad. I knew the front was bad based on my test drive last week. So it's kind of no big deal, because it's something I knew I was probably going to have to do anyway. So that's fine. We'll hopefully get back before toasting this sucker completely and maybe get it fixed, and then maybe we could go on a longer ride once we know we've got both functioning brakes, front and rear. But it's really not hard to do. Most bikes you can find the rebuild kits pretty easy on Amazon or eBay. I kind of like the K&L stuff because it seems to work pretty good. Yeah, so I think that's what I've already got for it, and that's what we'll put on it. So I'm gonna finish the last little bit of this journey back to the shop, and we'll catch back up with you there. All right, so we made it back to the shop without incident. Back wheel didn't lock up, which is fantastic. We're gonna get a fan blowing on that back caliper and rotor and start pulling that apart and putting some new seals in it, as well as the rear master cylinder. And then we'll do some bleeding on this front brake because it ain't working very good either. So we're gonna get into that here in a minute once these things have cooled off. All right, so we're gonna take the rear caliper apart. In this one in specific, there's a metal clippy ring thing that just comes off. Then this rubber boot, seal cover, whatever, comes off too. You can see where it just corroded right there over the many years of sitting. So we're gonna clean this up, take this spring out. There's a seal inside here that we're gonna be replacing. We're gonna replace that, we're gonna replace that. I found the easiest way to get these out is if you have compressed air, just take your air blower, shove it in there, put like a towel around this, boom, boom, and it'll pop that cup out for you. A lot of times you'll have to clean around this crustiness and get all that cleaned up before you can get maybe penetrating oil or something in there. Depending on the level of crustiness and how bad yours is, it may not just blow out with here. And you always want to take some pliers and put them on here, but that's not the right way to do it, and you're going to end up messing up this piston. Then you're going to need to order one of those too if you just go at it with some pliers. And yours may be so tore up that that might be something you have to do, but we're going to try to not do that. We're going to try to get it out the other way. The rear master cylinder, you know, all bikes are different, but most of the Honda ones I found are about the same. But I mean, as you can see in here, it's not looking good. No wonder she wasn't working. She's all crusted up. So we are going to do some rebuilding on that. We've got our rebuild kits and seals and things. So we're gonna get these apart, get them cleaned up, and then we'll be right back. So we got her cleaned up around the edge a little, but you can't really get in there too well. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a big like C-clamp or something. I mean, you know, you can get these at Harbor Freight or anywhere pretty cheaply. And don't blame me if this doesn't work for you. This is just what I do. Is try to squish it back in a little bit, the cup, which see, it's going back in. Yours may be frozen there like a mama and it may not come back out, but I found that running it in kind of breaks that crusty seal, so that now when I shoot it with the air, it'll come back out. Sometimes your piston may just be too corroded that it's just not coming out, and you're gonna have to resort to some different measures, but we'll go ahead and give that a blow with the blowgun and see if she can crack out. So, I mean, this is what we're using, probably some kind of Harbor Freight special. Doesn't take a ton of air, but usually if you did you hear it pop? Okay, so she's out of there. So we're in good shape. So now we've pinched our towel rather than chew up that cup. And now we can pull our cup out. You can see she's a little nasty inside there. I mean, it's 40 years of probably the same old nasty brake fluid. So we will clean this cup up, you know, on the outside and get it all cleaned. And then we'll clean up in here. And you can use some quadruple lot steel wool if you need to just kind of like, if there's any like imperfections, to try to get it as smooth as possible. If you do too much, you're obviously going to tear this up and the tolerances aren't going to work and it won't ever seal. So be real easy on that one. But yeah, get that guy cleaned up, that one cleaned up. Then we're going to fish this seal out to make room for our new one. I mean, you can see the crusties all in there. So we're going to go ahead and, you know, clean this all out. Maybe a tiny screwdriver, a little flathead, and dig that crap out of there and get it all cleaned up. All right, so we got it cleaned out pretty good. So we're gonna go ahead and install our new seal. Comes in the kit, just goes into that little groove ski. And then once she's sitting in there flat, we're going to put this little guy back in. Brake pad tension spring. Okay, so he sits in there like that. We're going to get a little fresh brake fluid and we're going to work that around that seal and get it lubed up. And then probably do the same with our cup, so that it just slides in easier. Piston, I guess you call it. But we get her started in there, and you got to get it in there square, so you may have to go from different sides. Yep, there it went. So we don't need it that far down, because we're going to need to pop that guy back out a little bit. Sometimes I can get it to just pop out. Now I'm all greasy from the brake fluid. So be careful, don't scratch that sucker. Nope, I'm not gonna get it like that. Okay, well, I guess it's fine. So there's a little lip there. We're going to put our new Dealy Bobber seal into that groove. Like so. Then we need to get it around this outer lip, all the way around it. And there we are. We'll take our new spring clip and we will run him down to the bottom. And that will hold that on. So make sure it's down in the back even, don't pinch our boot. Oh, let's see, we've popped off. There we go. Now we're down around the bottom of it. And now our caliper is rebuilt. So we can put that guy back on. We're also going to move on to the master cylinder. For our master cylinder, come with a bunch of parts. Looks like there's a clip ring in there, so I'm assuming one's going to be under there. So we're going to start taking this guy apart. In this case, we need to take these little Phillips screws off. Take this reservoir tube off. It's all crusty around that, so I could tell it's been leaking out of both ends over the years. Okay, so there's those guys, and then usually I can just twist on this guy and pull him out because there's like an O-ring around it or something. Let's see if we can do that without breaking it. That would be great. Let's see. Once we get it turned back and forth a few times, pop him right out of there. So there's a little O-ring on there that you may want to replace as well. But look inside. I mean, it's obviously that one has seen better days. So we're gonna go a little further, clean it up, try to get to this snap ring that's in here somewhere. I mean, it's looking real gross right now, like crusty old brake fluid. Ugh, that's nice. All right, we're gonna clean this guy up and then we'll be off to pop the in. All right, so all this crap came out of here when I pulled the plunger out. There's a snap ring you got to get, then a washer, then this is your assembly that goes into, and the snap ring holds it in. But with any brake, whether it's front or rear, there's usually two holes in the master cylinder that your fluid goes into. One is a normal size hole, like a, I don't know what size it is. The other one is this super tiny guy that barely you could fit a sewing needle in. You need to clean that out a little bit. Don't like hog it out, but use that and some brake clean with a straw to blast through there, or maybe compressed air until you get liquid coming out of here. Because if you don't undo that little clog, that's what keeps clamping the brakes down tighter and tighter, because that's the release to release fluid back into the reservoir, whether it's your front brakes or your rear. And on mine that was clogged, so when I was hitting the brakes, it just kept clamping and clamping and clamping. It never released the pressure, and that was the problem we were having, as the brakes were locking up. So now that we've got that guy clear, got it cleaned up, we're gonna clean it up a little bit more, and then we're gonna start putting it back. When you go to put this thing back together, in this little piston that comes out of there, it's got like a cup end on it. This has a ball socket end. You wanna put a little bit of grease in there, maybe some high temp grease. That way when you put it back together, it's got some kind of lubrication in it. So all we gotta do is just that. Just push this down, back into the bore, put the C-clip in, and then mount our reservoir back on, and we're ready to put it back in. All right, y'all, let's try this again. We bled the front, rebuilt the back. Let's see how she goes now. Front brake's still a little spongy. We have bled the piss out of that sucker. I don't know, man. The back's working pretty good. Doesn't seem to be locking, which is good. Front works, it just don't work great. I don't know what we're gonna do about that guy, but he's gonna need some loving. We may try the old rubber band over the lever with it depressed overnight situation to see if any more air bubbles come out, because it works, but it don't work as good as it should. Like in a panic stop situation. We ain't. I mean, it's working. It maybe also glazed the rotors because they got so freaking hot. It may be time for rotors and pads now, because I've didn't rebuild the brakes before taking off like a dummy. But these are things that you learn. And I know better, that's the problem. Boy, that left mirror just don't want none of this, or right mirror doesn't want none of it. Well, the brakes aren't bound up anymore, so at least it's headed in the right direction. Ooh, big old bump. Oh, Lord. Pay all the tax money. They can't fix the roads. That's what you get in good old California. Sorry, I'm trying to fix this damn mirror, but she ain't having it. She's flipped off and flipped around. Yep, she's done. Alright, so we need a new right side mirror apparently. So that one's had enough. So we'll take another ride out to the country. We'll start testing our braking. I mean, shit comes to a stop way better than before, for sure. I'm hoping that she will come back to life. It's working, just ain't working the best. Wow, that's a clean old Buick. Look at that thing. Jeez, I don't know if you guys can see that, but supercharged Park Avenue must be an Ultra. Heck yeah. Rolling. Alright, let's do this. Come on, buddy. People, man. It's definitely one lane, not two lanes. This guy's probably going to turn, not use a turn signal, not have a tail license plate. Just, you know, Out here doing ghetto shit in the ghetto. Yep. Oh, there we go. That's nice of you. Got people endangering my life because he's going slow. That's nice. Okay. Well, it came to a stop. I mean, that's pretty good. Whew. It's warm up under here. Jeez, that's tough. Well, our temp's good. Clock's good. So far, so good. I am concerned the tank was stuffed full. And we've only gone 11 miles, so it's not looking so hot at the moment. Whew. Come on, light change. She's getting warm. Or I am anyway. Nice. Whew. So we'll try to get another rip out to the outskirts of town here and see if our brakes start smoking. And we're off. Alright, here's another stop sign coming. Make sure we got enough room. And hit the brakes. Alright, well, it's doing something. Doing something better than it was. That is for sure. Everybody's looking. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go. All right. Fifth gear, 3500, doing about 50. Usually it's about this time I start smelling some brakes. So we plan to start making more videos, and I don't really want to call them how-tos because I don't know how to most of the time, but more so of how I did something, whether it's on a motorcycle or what. Just figure there might be people that would like some tips on how others are doing it. And if you have any suggestions, leave us a comment. Let us know if there's something you think we should cover, or what would be helpful for you, or you think others might want to see, or however we can help. We just want to put content out that people want to see. We don't always know what that is, so we're just trying to record what it is we're doing in hopes that maybe others want to see it. If not, that's fine too. So yeah, give us a like if you like the video. We sure would appreciate it if you'd subscribe, and you know, leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing, what we can do better, or what you think we're doing great, so that we can kind of perfect the films or content as we're doing it, so we, you know, can help you have a better overall experience. Sure would appreciate it. So far we're doing pretty good. I mean, we're hitting brakes are working, so I mean, that's definitely a plus. In each new intersection we pass, the further and further out of the actual city portion we get. We're in Sacramento, California, Northern California, and you know, there's lots of good riding near, close, but we're just usually taking test laps and stuff around. We call it our shop. It's not a shop. We're not open to the public. We just work on our own bikes, and you know, that's what it is. So Don't hit us up to work on your bike, because we don't. Not because we don't want to, it's just, you know, we got other stuff going on. We can't take on other work. There's tons of other shops out there, and shoot, the majority of it you could probably handle yourself. Onward. Isn't full throttle, just so you're wondering. We're just briskly accelerating on a 1980 Honda Goldwing. We are in 5th gear. I find myself often looking for a 6th gear, which to that, and stop trying to kick one more gear. But until then, that's what I'm doing. And this sucker rides so smooth. It says we're doing 55 at about 4,000 RPM, maybe 57 or so. And if the brakes are fine, we may even hit the highway on the back to see what it's like on the highway. Got to keep in mind, when these bikes and cars of the 80s and 70s were built and new, they were meant to do like 55, 60. That was your highway cruising speed. As you can see on the speedometer even, 55 is smaller than all the others because that's about where you were supposed to have it. They weren't really meant to be going down the highway at 80. That's not what they were designed for. I mean, it can, but it's obviously not going to get the optimum fuel economy. It's going to be a little tougher on the bike than, you know, if you're just doing 55, 60 down the road. As things changed over the years, obviously things were improved. Freeway, highway speeds increased. So now you'll find cars that are meant to go 80 all day long, because that's, you know, they got 10-speed transmissions in some of them. You know, these old 5-speed bikes were, you know, just appropriate for the current age of automobiling. Across the country, speed limits were 55, 60, 65. They weren't 80, 90 or unlimited. So yeah, that's kind of a sign that you know, it just wasn't designed for that. Not that it can't do it, it's just wasn't designed to do it the best. So with that said, we are going to check out over here. Nobody's coming. We'll make us a lefto turno. Pour some coal to it. You see, she's at a pretty high RPM just doing 60. So we'll see how it is, how loud it is, how it feels when we're headed down the road here, when we make this right. There's still quite a bit of traffic out, which isn't unheard of. You know, there's people that do live further away from the town if they're smart. So it's really hard in a metropolitan area to find an area where there are no people. All right, we're in top gear. 65, 70. 70, she's about 5 grizzle. Riding smooth though. I feel heat on my legs. The bike's not running hot. It's just, I guess, the design. I see guys with those wind wings or whatever they are. Maybe I need a set of those to kind of direct the wind. They look cool too. But we're definitely going to need a mirror, because that's not going to work. Alright. Well, I'd say it's been a success so far. She's cruising right down at highway speeds. So far the brakes, no smell, no sound, no smoke. I think we got it. Alright, well, I appreciate you guys for following along and, you know, checking out the old wing, and we're going to be posting some more videos soon, so we're going to try to do it a couple times a week. If you subscribe, hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified when we post new videos, as well as that little alert bell, because I think that's what actually tells you, hey, these guys have posted a new video if you'd like to check it out. We sure would appreciate it. We look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Thanks so much. Have a good one.